Hello dear students and respected parents, I hope that you're all doing it right, staying safe and taking precautions and everything that is necessary to stay safe. Alright, so Mr. Shad is back for another lesson with you. This time around I'll be talking about, or I will be covering chapter 10. So get ready, buckle down. Okay guys, so before I begin the chapter, I would like to say that at the end of this video, you'll find the answers for the previous chapter's review quiz, right? So every chapter has a has a review quiz at the end, okay? So every time it is like 10 questions. Alright, now let's begin the continuation of the DSD Club stories. Now this time around, it's about a different thing. It's not about the man who fell off a bike, then they took him to the hospital, and then and so on and so forth. This time around, it's about a place. Okay, it's about a place that they find. Okay, the interesting thing about this place is there are builders trying to build a shopping center. However, whenever you build something, you need to have a strong base. You need to have a strong foundation for it. So you have to dig the ground and then make some architectural adjustments so that you build something very firm and strong. So surprisingly, this time, when they dig the ground, they see that there is actually an ancient city under the ground. That place contains a lot of things that are very, very old, such as coins, pots, jewelry from the time that that place existed thousands of years ago. So archaeologists come to check this place out and see what's going on and see if they can learn anything by looking at those things and examining them. And by chance, the DSD members happen to be around that place and see those things, so they get interested. They ask the archaeologist what they are and what they can learn from them. So they start asking questions. They wonder how those old things can actually tell the stories or facts about the old people that lived there. And then the archaeologist explains to them how that is possible. For example, she gives them an example. She says that, you see those statues? Those statues mean, well, of course, the statues are inside the houses in that city that they find. She says that those statues mean that the old people in that city used statues in their houses. So that means they decorated their houses with statues. So they are amazed at how much you can learn actually from inanimate objects. Inanimate objects are things that are not alive. That's what I mean. It's not in your book, but that's what inanimate objects mean. Then it speaks up and says, I've got an idea, but I'll tell you next time. Which basically means that we're going to learn about his idea in the next chapter. Alright guys, so look at the pictures on your book on page 99. Okay? You see some pictures here. They may not, well, they're actually clear, but you need to know which one is which. Okay? If you look at the column, you can see what it represents, what it actually means. Okay, so a column, if you actually go to the workbook and see the definition, it says a column is a tall round thing made of stones that holds up a roof. So that's what a column basically means. So look at the statue next to the column. See, it's a human being, but it's not alive. It's made of stone, right? So a statue can be the shape of anything, of an animal or of a human being made from stone or wood. It's actually very unlikely for statues to be made out of wood, but it's more likely for them to be made out of stone rather than wood. Next up is archaeologist. You see the man there. He's wearing a hat, glasses. He's digging the ground. He's brushing the pot. He's trying to find out what it is. So archaeologists are people who learn about the past from old things they dig up from the ground. However, I'll be showing you some pictures of archaeologists' statues, columns, and carvings, everything that's in that picture, so that you know what they mean, because you must, it's a must, you must know these words. You must understand them. Like I said in the, as I always say actually, in class or in the previous online lecture, I told you, never memorize the definition of a word. The definitions are only there for you to understand the word better. So uh, review their definitions, look at them and see what they actually, how they are defined by your dictionary in your workbook. Carvings, however, are shapes that are carved out of a stone. Okay, so when you carve something, you must, first of all, you must know how to carve. So when you carve something, you can actually make a shape out of that piece of stone or piece of wood that you have. I'll be showing you pictures after this slide. You can see them what they are. And steps is, I mean, in every house we have stairs, right? How do you go from the ground to the first floor or the second floor? You need to use the stairs, right? So each block that you take, it's a step. So first step, second step, third step, until you go to the next floor. And a block is the is something that we use to build up our houses or build up other buildings. It's a part of the building. However, and let's talk about jewelry. Jewelry, probably the girls will know about this better than the boys, but I'll be showing you a picture and you'll know exactly what they are. So it's not exactly one thing, but most of them, there are a lot of many different kinds of jewelry, and thousands of them. I mean, there's no end to it. So please check out the next slides or the next pictures, because I'll be talking about them very briefly and what they are exactly. See guys, the first picture on your top left, someone, you see a hand with a device. Okay, that's, you call that a tool or a device. You see that the shape that is carved from, that I think is a wood probably. That person or that man has carved out a shaped, very wonderful, very beautiful things that he carved. So this you call a carving, because you made something by carving out a piece of wood. And the next picture is also, the man is standing next to three shapes that are carved out of stones. Okay, the man probably is an archaeologist. Okay, because he's interested in those things. Like we said, archaeologists are people who know, who learn about all things from the past that they get from the ground. So that piece of stone may have been under the ground for thousands of years, and then they found it, and then they brought it up, and maybe it probably is in a museum or something like that. And the picture down below, you can see two pots here. Okay, you can see those two pots right under the man's picture. You can see two pots right here. Okay, so basically these are pots. In this picture, look at your left. You can see a statue. That statue is called the Statue of Liberty. Originally, it was actually something that they built in France, and then France gave that statue, which is actually very, very big. It's extremely big. They gave it to America as a gift. Okay, and moving on, you see on the right side, I don't think there's anyone that has not seen what's in that picture on the right. So that's called a block. Okay, you use that thing to build buildings. And these are jewelries. Okay, these are jewelries. There are thousands of them. So these are two basic pictures that I brought so that you know what they are. Alright guys, so the picture on your right is an example that looks very much like your book, and on the left, that picture tells you what a column is actually like. Alright, so the one on the left is probably the ruins of an ancient city, and ancient means old, probably very old. That's why they call it ancient. Now, based on the information that I provided for you and the explanation that I gave to you, I want you to read these definitions and try to fill in these blanks with the words that have been explained to you. Okay? Read them very carefully, try to fill in the blanks. You can, if you haven't understood from my explanation very well, you can use your workbook so that you put the right words in their own blanks. Alright guys, let's work with words. I want you to focus on these 5 words. Okay, they are all nouns. We add full to them to create adjectives. Okay, look at the first word. It says wonder. Okay, wonder can actually be a verb and a noun as well, but in here we consider them as nouns so that we add full to them and create adjectives. So wonder, full. Cheer is a noun. When we add full to it, it becomes cheerful. Okay. Help is a noun. I need help. Okay. If I add full to it, it becomes helpful. So you can say that my friend was helpful when we studied together. Just like that. You need to focus on these 5 words very carefully. Okay, treat them very carefully. However, there is one type of nouns that we must be extra careful with, right? When we change them into adjectives. Why? Because those nouns end with Y. Look at the word beauty. Okay, look at the word beauty. Beauty ends with Y, and Y is actually a constant letter. Okay, so when you change those types of nouns, remove the Y. Okay, remove the Y. Instead of Y, add I to it, and then full. So we remove the Y, added an I, and then full to make it an adjective, right? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay guys, so I would like you to do the exercise by yourself. You need to know whether you should choose a noun from the words that are given to you, or whether you should change them to an adjective. Now, for example, I think I would like to do the second one for you, because the first one is already done. It says, would you like some help? Okay, you cannot say, would you like some help full. The second one says, There's water on the floor. Be care. So if there's water on the floor, you may slip. So you need to be careful. Okay, you need to be careful. Now solve the remaining two.
Listen and read. How does Professor feel? Why?
Now this is going to be lovely.
Oh, there are machines everywhere.
Yes, these are all my old inventions. Oh dear.
Is there anything wrong, Professor?
I never invent anything good. There is something wrong with all of my inventions.
That's not true, Professor. I'm your invention, and there's nothing wrong with me. Here, I made you something to eat.
Oh dear.
Alright guys, I think that you actually missed the professor and Chip. We all missed them, right? We had a lot of fun with these two fellas. Okay, anyways, I want you to focus on two things, like always. There's a question, there's a general question about the whole text that says, how does professor feel, right? And why? After that, when you listen to it and read it a couple of times, I want you to focus on the words everywhere, anything, something, and nothing. Okay, I want you to focus on them very well and how they are used in the conversation. We call those things indefinite pronouns. Now, when you will get a video from Mr. Frank or Mr. Shankar that will talk about indefinite pronouns in great detail so that you understand a lot better. I will not be covering that because he will be talking about it as well, so it will be like talking about the same thing twice. I don't want you to be bored listening to the same thing. So you can listen to Mr. Shankar's video once he's done with it and sends it to you. Then you can understand very well and on a deeper level what they actually represent. To be honest, I think any of those words, everyone, everything, something, no one, nothing, they can be very easy for you. Don't be intimidated or don't be scared by the fact that they are called indefinite pronouns. But what I want you to do is focus on when it talks about a person or a thing or a place. When it says someone, you know that it must talk about a person. Or when it says something, you know that it's not talking about a person, it is talking about something, anything. And when it says somewhere, where tells us that it is talking about a place, okay? Where did you leave your keys? I don't know. I left it somewhere in my room, okay? So you don't exactly know where you put your keys, but you know that it's somewhere in your room. So it's talking about a place, okay? So we have someone, something. The thing tells you that it's a thing, and the where tells you that it is about a place. Okay, guys, so what I want you to do is solve the exercise that you see, whether it's on the book or on the video with your own eyes. Doesn't matter as long as you know what the solution is. Read the question carefully, then try to choose the right solution for it. Alright guys, so this exercise is basically asking and answering questions, and this would only work in a class environment where where I can actually see you guys, ask you questions, require answers from you as well. So try to do that with your siblings or your parents. That would work very well with them. Okay guys, so moving on to this page, on page 101, the basic question is, where are they? Where do you think they are? So there's a conversation going on. You need to find out through that conversation where those two are. Okay, we have Emma and Lisa. They're having a conversation in a place. It's somewhere. We don't know exactly where it is. We need to find out where it is based on the conversation that they're having. Okay, the conversation is, Emma says, these necklaces are beautiful, aren't they? Lisa says, yes. The Romans had lots of jewelry. Emma, we can't take photos in here, can we? No, Lisa says, we're not allowed. Let's go and look at some statues. Emma says, okay, the Egyptian room is upstairs, isn't it? Lisa says, yes, come on, let's go. So, there are a couple of things that are mentioned in here. They actually tell you where they are. Now, I will give you a hint. I don't want to give out the answer, but I will give you a hint. It's not, I don't want, this doesn't ask you for the name of the country. So it's asking you where they are. Where can you see those old things, okay? Where can you see those things, statues, old stuff, pots, things that are thousands of years old and are kept in a certain place. What do you call that place? All countries have that place. What do you call it? That's where they are. I want you to think about it, then give your answer. Also, yeah, you can notice that at almost every line in the conversation they're having, they end up with a question, a small question. We call that type of question tag questions, okay, or question tags, or tail questions. They all mean the same thing, and they are those questions are, when in the first line you see Emma says, aren't they? The third line she says, can we? And in the line before, the last line says, isn't it? So isn't it, can we, or aren't they, are all question tags. However, I'm not gonna go dive into them deeply. Mr. Shringer, again, he will be talking about that for you. I hope that he has already talked about it. I'm not exactly sure. I need to contact him, but you will hear that he will definitely talk about it for you. Now, based on his information, you are going to have to do what? You're going to have to do the exercises down below. Okay, read the instruction. Read the instruction very well. See the exercise and choose the correct answers for each question. Alright guys, we're gonna move on to page 102. There is a story, there's a text that talks about something. You try to find out or figure out what it is gonna talk about through the picture. I know that it doesn't give a whole lot of information, but the picture says something. What do you think it's telling you? I mean, based on the picture, you can definitely think about something. I mean, your mind will go somewhere when you look at the picture. Okay, so think about that. Then uh, move on and try listening to the audio that I put there, because I recorded it and then I played it for you. You can listen to it. I would definitely suggest that you would listen to it. Or if you don't want to listen to it, you can read it by yourself and try to, like I said, I mean, I told you some reading techniques. Try to apply those techniques on this text as well, so that you can answer the questions later on.
City.
The Inca people lived in the Andes Mountains in South America over 500 years ago. The Inca used stone to build wonderful buildings with slanted doorways, windows and roofs. Most Inca cities did not have walls around them, but they were very safe. There were large stone fortresses near each city. When there was danger, the people could hide in the fortresses. The most famous Inca city is Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is high in the Andes Mountains in Peru. Only local people knew it was there until 1911, when Hiram Bingham, an American archaeologist, visited Peru and saw the ruins of this ancient city. When he returned to America, he wrote an article about Machu Picchu in National Geographic magazine. Soon, the rest of the world knew about this wonderful place. Explorers went to Machu Picchu and found palaces, fortresses, and the remains of stone aqueducts. The aqueducts brought water from rivers to the city. Today, the streets and the walls of the city are like a stone maze for people to walk through. There are still some things that we don't know about Machu Picchu today. For example, no one knows why the Inca stopped living there. Some people think there was an illness that made the Inca run away from the city. It is difficult to find out if they are right because there are no records to tell us. The Inca didn't write, but they were excellent builders. It has been nearly 100 years since the rest of the world first heard about Machu Picchu. Today, Machu Picchu is Peru's most famous tourist attraction. If you travel to Peru, you should definitely visit the amazing lost city of the Inca.
Okay guys, so this text is talking about some people that were called Inca. They lived in Peru over 500 years ago. They were in Peru. Now this text is focused on some stuff. One of them being is where they are, or sorry, where they were, how their cities looked. Were they intelligent? Did they write? How did they live? How many people know about them? How many people knew about them? When were they found out? What were their specific or most distinguished traits? And who actually found out about them? There is a man actually in the text. You need to know who he is. Not for the exam though. But the people of that place, I mean, in Peru, there were some people who knew about them, but it wasn't known to the world. Now, if you type in Inca Empire, it will definitely give you a lot of information about them. Now, we have some words, some new words in this text, which they are like 5. Okay, those words are very important for you to know. Okay, the words are slanted. A slant is something that is not straight. Okay, fortresses are buildings. Okay, buildings that are built to defend yourself against an attack. Okay, so if that used to be, the people used to build fortresses in the old days. Nowadays, fortresses are, at least they're not built. I mean, we have a lot more technological advancement in the military, so fortresses cannot withhold attacks just like before. Because before, people used to attack each other with knives, with swords, but nowadays it's a lot different. So it's very unlikely for you see other cities or countries to build fortresses. However, fortresses in the past were built to defend against an attack, okay, because those fortresses uh, were built in such a way that prevented the entrance of the enemy, or it made it very difficult for enemies to penetrate the fortress. Let's move on to the next word, ruin. Ruins, or it can mean a lot of things, but in our case, the ruins actually mean that when there is a place that that is abandoned, okay, or that is left by its people, and no one lives there anymore. I mean, after many years, the place changes by the wind. Chemical changes happen, physical changes happen, things grow on the rocks. I mean, lots of weird things happens to that place. So it decays. So many things that have happened to that place. So it stays in ruins. It gets messed up. Okay, I don't. You will likely not be able to live in that place anymore. If you look at the picture, you can see that that place is not livable anymore. You cannot live in a place like that, right? It doesn't look anything like the normal houses that we live in. Ancient. Let's talk about ancient. Ancient is usually a word that refers to a very old thing. Okay, when a place or something is very old, we call it ancient. Okay, we call the empires that were thousands of years old, and they're not there anymore. We call them the ancient empire. Why? Because they're very old, and that's why even the things that they used or the places that they lived in are called ancient. Moving on to the next word is explorer. An explorer is a person who's, let's say, that's sort of curious and goes to places to find out about anything he can find out about. Okay, whether it's a she or he, doesn't matter. Explorers go to places to find out about that place, or maybe know how old that place is, or how wonderful it is, or did people live there? If people live there, what kind of people lived there? What did they do? So you explore it, you find out, you dive deep. You wanna know about that place, or wherever it is that you will want to find out about. So exploring a place is basically trying to find out whatever you can find out about that place. Next word is aqueducts. Aqueducts is a bridge that uh, carries water. Okay, so uh, you need water. Okay, there's a gap between two places that are high. Both of them are high. You can build a bridge to let the water flow on that bridge to get to the other side. That's an aqueduct. Okay. Next word is maze. Maybe some of you know this word. Maze is a place where you are lost, basically lost. I mean, when you it's very unlikely for people to get into a maze. Usually the old places are like that. Maybe there are actually games that will put you in a maze somehow. But a maze is, I'll try to put some pictures for the words that I'm explaining for you in the next slides. But a maze is basically a place when you go in, there are many more directions for you to go. It's not just one or two direction, it's maybe in hundreds of options for you to go. So maybe you'll go you'll go to the same places that you were before, but you don't know because all of it look the same. All right, so coming to the last part of this text is the fact that this place is actually a tourist attraction. I hope that most of you recognizes what tourist attraction means because we studied it in the reading and writing lesson. If you know what tourist means, if you know what attraction means, combine them together, you know what they mean, what they represent together. So if something that catches your eyes, it's if something that maybe makes you want to see that thing, it attracts you, right? That's called an attraction. So that place attracts people to itself, right? So that the Inca place attracts tourists because if once people hear about Inca Empire or the Inca people, they want to find out about that place. It's a wondrous place. Most people would like to go there if they had a chance. So it attracts people from all around the world to visit that place. That's why it's called a tourist attraction. Okay, guys, so please try to solve the exercise down below that you see, as well as solving the exercise on the other page, page 103, which is 103. Alright guys, so look at these pictures. I'm trying to explain some of them that I think are difficult to understand through pictures. So if you look at that picture, you can see that that place is in ruins. Why? Because it is broken. It is very, very, very old. Maybe people used to live there. We don't exactly know why it looks like that, what they used it for, but what we need to know is that such places, these kinds of places, or shapes or buildings, are called ruins because they're very old, they're misshaped, they're broken. No one uses it anymore. It's just a historical thing for us to go for sightseeing. That's it. Alright, so this is the best picture that I found for the word aqueduct. Okay, so if you look at the picture, actually look at the, so we have two parts of the in this picture. One of them, you can see the water that goes uh, from the mountain down to the bottom, then back up, which takes some time. Probably if there's not enough water, it wouldn't go back up and go to the city. So what they would do, look at the first part of the picture, is build a bridge to make the float of the water very easy to go from the mountain to the city. Alright, so that's what an aqueduct bridge looks like. Alright guys, so this place is called a maze. Why? Because once you get inside, once you are inside of that place, there are I don't know, maybe tens or hundreds of options for you to go, and you don't know where you are because they all look the same. Nothing tells you that you have been there or where you are exactly. So it creates confusion. They call it maze. Okay guys, so before I begin the chapter, I would like to say that at the end of this video, you will find the answers for the previous chapter's review quiz, right? So every chapter has a has a review quiz at the end, okay? Every time it is like 10 questions. Alright, now let's begin the continuation of the DSD Club stories. Now, this time around, it's about a different thing. It's not about the man who fell off a bike, then they took him to the hospital, and so on and so forth. This time around, it's about a place. Okay, it's about a place that they find. Okay, the interesting thing about this place is there are builders trying to build a shopping center. However, whenever you build something, you need to have a strong base. You need to have a strong foundation for it. So you have to dig the ground and then make some architectural adjustments so that you build something very firm and strong. So surprisingly, this time, when they dig the ground, they see that there is actually an ancient city under the ground. That place contains a lot of things that are very, very old, such as coins, pots, jewelry from the time that that place existed thousands of years ago. So archaeologists come to check this place out and see what's going on and see if they can learn anything by looking at those things and examining them. And by chance, the DSD members happen to be around that place and see those things, so they get interested. They ask the archaeologist what they are and what they can learn from them. So they start asking questions. They wonder how those old things can actually tell the stories or facts about the old people that lived there. And then the archaeologist explains to them how that is possible. For example, she gives them an example. She says that, you see those statues? Those statues mean, well, of course, the statues are inside the houses in that city that they find. Uh, she says that those statues mean that the old people in that city used statues in their houses. So that means they decorated their houses with statues. So they are amazed at how much you can learn actually from inanimate objects. Inanimate objects are things that are not alive. That's what I mean. It's not in your book, but that's what inanimate objects mean. Then it speaks up and says, I've got an idea, but I'll tell you next time. Which basically means that we're going to learn about his idea in the next chapter.
What are
Okay
they
guys,
talking
get your
about?
pencils and try to solve
The
these
Parthenon is in Athens,
blanks.
Greece. It's more than 2,000 years old. It's on the top of a hill in the centre of the city. It's a long walk up to the top of the hill, but when you get there, you can see the huge columns and the beautiful statues. Some of the walls have fallen down and some of the statues are in a museum now, but it's still a great place to visit. I think the most wonderful place I've ever visited is Stonehenge. Stonehenge is in Salisbury, in the UK. It's more than 4,000 years old. Nobody really knows what Stonehenge was, but it is a very interesting place to visit. There are lots of huge blocks of stone. Someone moved the blocks into a circle, but nobody knows why.
We visited the Great Wall when we were in China last year. It was one of the most beautiful places we've ever been. The wall is very long. It's made from bricks and stone. We walked along some of it and we took a lot of photos. We met some people who were trying to walk along the whole wall.
Okay guys, so this is gonna be the last part of our video. I'm going to talk about how you can make your piece of writing better, right? So there are many ways to make your writing better, but in this piece of text, we have some information to tell you how to make your writing better. One of them is making your writing more interesting. How can you do that? It's by asking a question. So this person's piece of writing starts with a question. He says, "Have you ever wondered what life was like in an ancient Rome?" So once he starts asking you that question, you start wondering what life is like in an ancient Rome. It takes you back. That question takes you back thousands of years ago, right? Because that Rome, I mean, the ancient Rome were like an empire, and they were a great empire. So it makes you feel like maybe even search it on YouTube and learn more about it, right? So the question makes you more interested. So one line, one simple line, one question interests you and makes you want to search about this place or think about it. So more you want to know more information about this place. Okay, so there's another way to make your piece of writing more interesting is using the senses. Involve your senses. We have 5 senses. So hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, and tasting, right? So if you involve that in your piece of writing, you can make the person who reads your writing or your text feel the way you felt in that moment that you probably had an experience with. Along with that, you can use different adjectives. Using a variety of adjectives means using different adjectives. So excited is an adjective. Fantastic is an adjective. So in a couple of sentences that person used a couple adjectives. You can use more, which makes the piece of writing even more exciting. After that, describing people's thoughts and feelings. So he states that he felt scared. Well, how did he feel? He felt scared, right? So he describes how he's feeling. So he allows you to actually know and feel what he felt, because we all know what being scared is like, right? So if you were in a small dark room, you would be scared. It's not a nice feeling. And lastly, using direct speech. So, and at the end of it, he said, "As I was leaving, I saw a man wearing a Roman costume. Come back soon," he said. So this is a direct speech. That's a direct confrontation with a character, with not exactly a character, but a person he met in his experience, and he talks about how they talk. Okay, so that is also actually a sense of hearing, right? So 2 things at the same time: direct speech and hearing. Okay. Alright guys, so I want you to solve the exercise on page 104 and 105 as well. So 104 says match. Okay, we have 5 questions. You match them with the letters on the right, and then you have the complete the quiz questions on page 105. Please try to do them. I will be posting the answers for the complete the quiz on the next video. Okay guys, so thank you very much for watching the video till the very end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot from it. Our objective is you learning the material all the way to the very end. So I tried my best to cover all the important information in this video, and hopefully you did take advantage of it. Thank you very much for watching the video.